what kind of ideas do you really have that you'd like to see to expand on? Community partnerships you'd like to form, and then how would you like to fund, new programming?
Right.
Ideas?
So I would like to meet up with the city council and get them more involved in it, and the tourist board in Dixon, and see how we can, attract more of the people in Dixon and the surrounding areas to the park district. I know years ago the parks were utilized to a great extent, and it's kind of gone downhill recently, but I don't know if it's utilizing more of Lowell Park to get the outside population here, or teaming up with the tourists and having the tourist board and trying to get some of some planned events during the summer.
Okay, what kind of events did you?
Maybe music in the park. I think the boat docks are something that are used the most, and maybe try to have something around boating, something music on the river, something along those lines.
Kind of with funding, where would you like to draw funding for events like that from?
Sure. So I think we need to look at the budget and be more transparent with where the money is actually being spent, the tax dollar money, and look at the 1,100 acres that we have as a park district board, where the money is being spread out, and maybe look at cutting the upkeep on certain parts of the parks that aren't being utilized, and focusing it more on stuff down in the park by the boat docks to have those kind of events.
Okay, what do you see as maybe not necessarily unnecessary, but areas where funding could be cut?
Sure. Well, 1,100 acres is a lot to keep up on, so I don't know if there's certain acreage that we need to look at selling off, getting rid of, or certain acres that we need to lease to farmers, and then taking that money and utilize it where more of the constituents of Dixon are going to be using parks.
Okay. And I think a large issue for people in Dixon, and a kind of a hot button topic, is the pool. Whether to open it again, what do you do with it? So
right.
Do you have thoughts?
Yeah, I'd like to see it reopened. I know whenever it was open and it was in its prime, there was a lot of people of Dixon that utilized it, especially on the west end. It's in walking proximity for a lot of people. So I think that would be something that we could look at, see what the budget, where that falls within the next couple of years, and look at what monies we would have to reopen that.
Mm-hmm. And in reading your questionnaire, I know you said you're out in the community a lot, and you're talking to people, and you're hearing ideas about what they'd like to see. What are you hearing, and how would you like to implement those if you're elected to park board?
Sure. Memorial pool is one of the big topics, and a lot of people ask about reopening it, what kind of money it would cost, what hours we would have it open, who would fund the lifeguards, and then also just looking at the boat docks. People use the boat docks a lot. There's been talk of different concerts in the park where it would shut down the boat docks, but I think we need to have concerts in the park, have the boat docks, and maybe have something along the lines of music on the river.
Mm-hmm. And then would you charge for that, or how would you? Would it be tickets? How would you fund?
I don't think we would necessarily charge for it. I think it would be something that we would try to use a trial run, have one of them, see how many people we have. Maybe park in the boat or the trailer parking, and then use that as a learning experience, and then maybe down the road, if we want to charge from it, and see how many people that we have that would like to come and play the music.
Okay, so you're thinking like a summer concert series, kind of is what it sounds
absolutely.
Like. Okay, along the lines of what they have in the parking lot over
there.
Yeah,
absolutely. In the Bean Blossom.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay. As far as the pool funding, you mentioned some ideas you had were perhaps maybe selling off some acreage, or
right.
What other funding options? I mean, obviously, budgets for cities are being slashed in the governor's eyes. Ideally, they would be slashed dramatically.
Right.
So where do you think that money might come from?
I think that's something that we would team up with city council and the city government agencies, and really look at where we have money within the city, and take it from there to see what monies we have set aside to be able to spend on opening the pool.